So James Wood missed the start of spring training because he was dealing with some tendonitis. He said he felt good. He just, Rizzo said, let's just make sure he's 100%. And ever since he started playing, I think he's played 10 games. So he's missed roughly half the spring training, but he's got 4 bombs. He hit another one yesterday. He's hitting 380. I think James Wood's going to have a bomb year. I'm not saying he's going to hit 40 bombs, but he's just going to have a really good year. His projection is about 20 and a half home runs. I'm going over that. His projection is also about 20 stolen bases. I'm going over that. Your thoughts on James Wood? He apparently feels really good and looks really good so far.
Yeah, we're in lockstep here, bro. I mean, I think it's 19 and a half, and I'm over it. I've got a bet in on that.
Okay.
I don't think he'll hit 30, and I think 25 is probably a little bullish, but I certainly think it's possible this year because he's still – and a lot of people are bothered by this. I'm not in any way. But his natural swing right now with his length and how far he's going to be off the plate is going to be to go the other way and get left center a lot. Remember early in Aaron Judge's career, he almost never went pull side for power with long home runs. And Wood's home runs are mostly going to be to left center and left field, which is where they've all been to this spring, and they were all but one last year. As he gets bigger and just more mature as a hitter and as the years go on, he's going to start pulling the ball for power down the right field line too. But I got to tell you guys, I mean, this is probably the story down here, and maybe it's not surprising, but every single person we talked to, because for the first 2 days we were here, some of the guys were on a trip cross-state, including Wood, and we didn't see them. Everybody's talking about just how unbelievable, he has looked. He had, to your point, 4 homers in his first 27 at-bats. He hit a ball in the screws to right center for a double after that yesterday. He is so locked in. You'd like to just put him in bubble wrap, send him to D.C. and say, we'll see you next week. It's ready. He's ready to start the year. But, I mean, the conversations they're having, and the front office people don't do this because they don't want to overhype it or put too much pressure on him. But I'm talking about other players, guys like Lowe or like Paul DeYoung that are longtime veterans who have played in World Series, who came from other works. Like the things they say about this guy, it's just hard not to get overly excited. They're talking about him being – physically more gifted than anyone they've ever seen, or, there's only a couple guys in the big leagues, you can count them on one hand, who have his skill. Like, we're talking about a legitimate superstar, like an Aaron Judge level potential when it's all said and done, a Judgian Soto type profile for this guy if he can max out. My job when I get home is going to be to not get too excited because that's the kind of week it's been down here talking about and watching him play.
Hey, Grant, another prospect, now he's not as far along as James Wood, you tweeted about him, is Elijah Green. Had a really good day on March 14th. Is that yesterday or a few days ago?
That was
Friday. He had a double and a homer, and this is a guy who hasn't quite fulfilled expectations yet. It's taken a little bit longer, but it looks like the signs are there that he's building on something. Talk about Elijah Green and the way he's developing.
Yeah, Casey, he's really interesting. I mean, so that was the spring breakout game, the first of 2 basically prospect showcases that he played in. He hit a double and a homer. He was pretty locked in and ended up striking out a couple times, had a really, really good at-bat on one of the Ks. But the story on him, for people not familiar, he was the top 5 pick for the Nationals a couple years ago. He was kind of seen as this boomer bust player. He had swing and miss, was kind of the profile, but if they could iron out the swing, he could be a superstar. Like the Nats internally have long said, if the hit tool came along, it's like an Andre Dawson kind of profile, who's obviously ended up being in the Hall of Fame because he's so big. His dad was an NFL tight end, Eric Green, for the Steelers. He's probably like 6'3" and 215. He's one of the most sculpted, physically imposing athletes, like DK Metcalf kind of vibes. And he also runs at that size like DK Metcalf. He was a sub 4.38, I think it was, like around when he was drafted as a 40. I mean, he's just an unbelievable athlete. On a 20/80 scouting scale, which is what they use to evaluate talent, 8 is like the ceiling, and he's an 80 runner and probably an 80 defender. So he's got like these 2 unbelievable traits that will make you a really good big league player. Here's the problem. He just has not hit at all or shown the ability that he can hit at all. It's literally a 50% strikeout rate in A-ball, which is like, 20% higher than not okay if you're in the big leagues. And so it's been a real struggle just putting the bat on the ball, and that's going to be the whole story of his career. If he can make contact and improve his hit tool, he could be an exceptional major league player. But even if you have 4 really good tools and 2 unbelievable tools in speed and defense, if you can't hit, you guys know this, it's just not going to work. And so that's the whole story. He worked really hard this offseason. We talked to him. He's a really nice kid. I'd never had a conversation with him at this length. And now you root for him and you feel bad because I've been talking about how I don't know if he's going to make it for a year or so. But I will be pulling for him, I'll tell you that. But he's got a lot of work ahead of him at the plate. There's no doubt.